Hi, it's Bumble. Welcome back to my channel. So I've recorded videos on my phone, but I've never recorded one that's while I've been outside. So if you hear like birds and things in the background, I don't know how well my phone picks up like outside noises and things. That's why. It just kind of felt right to record this outside anyway. Because this is like kind of a naturey movie anyway. It like a lot of it takes place at an aquarium. And it just feels really calming out here, and the movie made me feel it's like it's depressing. It's one of those that's like depressing but also hopeful. Also, I don't have access to my computer right now to record, but I felt so much emotion after finishing this movie. I thought I need to make a review of this immediately, so that's the other reason I'm on my phone. Let me just pull up my notes really quick. So this movie, I think it's based on a book. I've never read the book. Maybe I will. I'm not sure. I was pretty satisfied with the movie, though, like, as a movie. What was I going to say? But it just got added on Netflix. I mean, I think it did. I always, like, spoil stuff in my movies, but sometimes, like, with this one, I'll mention, like, hey, I'm gonna be, like, spoiling stuff, especially if it's movies like this that I really, really liked, you know. So I think I'll give you a description kind of about what it's about, and then you can kind of decide from there, like, if you're interested or not. Like, if you don't care about spoilers, you know, you can keep watching. I mean, it'll take me a while to get to some of the spoilery things. Some of my notes are more like summary based, and some of them are just kind of my thoughts on stuff. But I'll give you like a off the top of my head summary on this. So I thought this movie, because I watched the trailer and it's like narrated by an octopus. The movie itself really isn't. It's like sort of about an octopus, and that's like not a spoiler or anything. It's more like it's about these two human characters actually that live in this small town. Well, I think one of them's new there. One of them is this young guy named Cameron. He looks like he's in like his 30s or something, and he goes to this town. I don't remember what the town's called. And he's trying to find his dad, because the only person he's ever really known is his mom, who's passed away, and he'd learned his dad had recently, or no, I think it was that he learned his mom had passed away, and he like wants to find out who his dad is. And then there's this older woman. She's the character that's played by Sally Field. I only recognized like a couple of people in this movie, like Alfred Molina. He voices the octopus. I'll talk about more of their performances, I think, once I get to that part of my notes. But yeah, Sally Field, she plays this older lady named Tova. And Tova is this person who works as a custodian at this aquarium, and she's been doing it for like a long time, and is like really, really passionate about her job and cares about all the creatures there, and like really tries to keep that place clean. It's kind of just all that she has, really, because for both Tova and Cameron, you know, Cameron doesn't have his parents. You know, he's trying to find his dad, but he never grew up with a mom or anything. And Tova has a son and a husband that's passed away. So they're kind of just two people that are both on their own. And the way they even end up meeting each other is that Tova is planning to move away to some like retirement home, and Cameron is going to be her replacement as the custodian at this aquarium. And Tova's friend, I mean, she has human friends. It's like a group of these other older women, but Tova's real friend is an octopus named Marcellus that lives at the aquarium, and he can tell that both Tova, he's like a really smart octopus. I mean, he has this sort of like narration of his thoughts, but he can't like verbally communicate with the humans. He's a really fun character. He's more of a side character than I thought he was going to be, but he's still important to the story because he's the one that like he can tell immediately somehow that both of the two humans are sad, and he wants to bring them together because he knows they'll be able to heal each other, because, you know, Cameron never really had a mom, and hold on a minute. I had to pause. My dog's rolling around and getting herself dirty. She's also out here with me. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, Cameron never had like a mother figure or anything. I mean, Tova is like a bit too older to be his mother, you know. She's probably like in her 60s, 70s or something. But yeah, and she had lost a son, and you see throughout the movie that her son, like his taste in music and stuff, is like kind of similar, like Cameron reminds her like of her son. And the octopus can tell immediately like these two can sort of heal each other, so he tries to bring them together. And that's like pretty much the summary of it. And, you know, because it's a story that's about healing and loss, you know, it could get very depressing, especially with Tova as a character. I mean, Cameron's going through stuff too, but I feel like when it's focused on Tova's side of things, the movie tends to get depressing. But it kind of gives this hopeful feeling throughout it too, this sort of hopefulness about like connecting with others and stuff that I really liked. Okay, I'm going to start with my notes now, but I just wanted to give that summary of what it's about in case, you know, you're interested in watching it yourself, and then afterwards, you know, you can check out this review, because I really liked this one, and I don't want to spoil things, you know. The movie, it starts out with Marcellus, where he talks about just wanting to be alone in the ocean. I mean, obviously now he doesn't live in the ocean, he lives in an aquarium, where there's like a bunch of kids that stare at him and stuff. And he's a fun character. He's like very sarcastic and smart. I mean, octopuses are octopi, smart. But he views himself kind of above the humans. Not in like a I have a bigger brain, I'm better than you sort of way. I mean, a little bit. I mean, I don't know if octopus have like a larger brain than humans, but just in a way where he's like, wow, humans have so many words, but they have trouble communicating each other. Like that kind of thing. Like it's more like he doesn't understand why humans in their lives can be so complicated. So that's where some of his sarcastic commentary and things comes from, and he feels this sort of kinship to Tova, because they're both very solitary and like kind of being around the aquarium at night, and they both don't like eels. Eels are an important thing in this story as well, the eels that are on the opposite side of Marcellus's tank. But yeah, I thought, like I could tell sort of what kind of story it is a bit from watching the trailer, that it was going to be kind of a sad story about connecting with people. But I thought it was going to be more about Marcellus. He is very important and stuff, but there's like a good chunk of the movie where it's more focused on the humans and you don't see Marcellus for a while, that I kind of actually forgot about him. But he's a fun character. But his thing is that he, you know, doesn't like being in captivity, and he's trying to escape. At first, I thought Marcellus was going to be like a little more malicious, just because there's this part when he touches Tova with one of his tentacles and is able to sense her sadness and kind of instinctively pushes her away. He's not trying to hurt her, but you don't get his sort of dialogue at first. So you just see he kind of moves and she falls and ends up injuring her ankle. And that's part of the reason I think they hired a replacement. Oh yeah, because I think her aquarium doesn't even know that Tova's planning to move. I think she was like keeping a secret from everyone. So I thought like, oh okay, he's willing to hurt people to like get his way and escape. But no, he genuinely cares about this cleaning. He always refers to Tova as the cleaning lady. He doesn't refer to any of the humans by name. But it was kind of funny when Tova and Cameron, their relationship, their friendship is really the heart of the story, I would say. It's kind of funny that they don't get along at first. There's this part when they're arguing in front of Marcellus's tank, and he makes this noise because he just wants them to shut up. I found Tova a little bit annoying at first, but I think that's more because I'm more of a similar age to Cameron than to Tova. Like, I understood that, like, Tova cares about her job a lot, and there's sort of, like, a better, not to, like, do things half-assed and stuff, but at the same time, I could see myself being just as frustrated as Cameron, of how she could be very Tova, I mean, nitpicky, and her constantly saying throughout the movie, like, oh, there's a plane going up ahead. That there's a right way and a wrong way to do stuff. And my apologies again if there's, like, loud noise. I just don't really feel like going inside right now, but it's also, I keep hearing, like, birds and things out here. I'm trying to have my mouth, like, really close to the microphone, so if I get any comments about, like, it's noisy, it's like, my apologies, I can't use my computer to record this, which is a bummer, because I feel like my commentary right now, especially because I can't really read my notes very well, is actually kind of forcing myself to go off the top of my head. I feel like my commentary is really good right now. But yeah, Tova was a little annoying to me, but just in that sense, she kind of becomes more relaxed as she grows comfortable talking to Cameron and stuff. They get used to each other, they end up becoming friends. And it's interesting with those two characters, and sometimes Marcellus as well, but mostly those two characters, Cameron and Tova, where their life events mirror each other in the sense that something good will happen to one person, something good will happen to the other person, and also when things are bad, like things go bad for them immediately, like Cameron, he's in a band, his band kind of gives up on him, but it's mostly because he doesn't have the willpower to commit to things, and then things go bad for Tova as well. But then it sort of gets, like, Tova and Cameron, they get into an argument where Cameron doesn't really like the job, and says something like, I don't need your help, and Tova's like, okay, fine, so she stops showing up to work, and Cameron at that point takes the job a little more seriously, but also starts talking to Marcellus. I love that both the characters, just as they're working there, they only talk to Marcellus, they don't really talk to the other animals. And they don't know, by the way, that he has, like, human-level intelligence in the sense that, you know, we, the audience, hear his internal monologue, his thoughts throughout the movie, but, like, the other characters don't know that. They don't know what he's thinking. I mean, they take him seriously and stuff, but they don't know that he's trying to bring them together or anything. But the fact that they just instinctively talk to each other. Oh, there's another damn plane out here. Okay, I think the plane passed. I'm trying to pause every time there's a plane that comes by, just in case. Hold on, let me see. There's some things that Tova does where I understand she's trying to help Cameron. He kind of needs that external push, but at the same time, I feel like it was me. There's some things that Tova, well, it's like one thing that Tova does. It's probably not that big of a deal, but I feel like if I was in Cameron's shoes, I'd feel a little bad about it too. There's this part where there's this lady that Cameron likes, but he's too nervous. It's not like he's too nervous to ask her out. I mean, he's interested in her, but he is kind of just more comfortable texting her at first, and then Tova not only calls this person on Cameron's phone, but also sets up a date for the two of them, and, like, the date goes well and everything. Actually, both Tova and Cameron end up going on dates with people, but I still don't like that she called this person and set up the date. Like, she's kind of interfering to that degree. I mean, Cameron probably wouldn't have called this girl and asked her out anyway, but I understand that Tova was just trying to help, but I also don't really like that she did that. And then they go to find Cameron's dad, and I thought that was going to take longer, but they end up at the house of some guy, and I don't know why he gets so riled up. Like, Cameron's just, like, the guy sounds angry, and Cameron doesn't want to go in, and Tova bangs on the front door, and is like, why are you angry at Cameron? He's drove, like, thousands of miles to come see you, thinking, like, it's the dad. It's not the dad. Some guy that, like, threatens her with a gun, and I was just like, what the hell, man? But I like that after this little road trip adventure, you know, the two of them are starting to get along a bit, and then Tova also gets to go on a date I like that she doesn't realize it's a date at first. She's asked to tea, and her friends, it's like, I think the first time we get to see her friends in the story, they get really excited, and they're saying, like, oh, you're going on a date, and Tova's like, is it a date? And it is, and stuff, and the date goes wrong. Both their dates go wrong. I liked Cameron's date, though. I need to look up wherever the heck this movie was filmed, because it just, wherever it is, it just looks so peaceful. Like Cameron goes on a paddleboarding date on this lake, and it just looked so relaxing out there. It's just funny to me. He's like, because Cameron's the type of character, he's like constantly making excuses about stuff. Like he's trying to cover up that he's actually a little scared out there. And the lady that's with him is like, oh, come on, you know, it's like more fun if you stand up. And I feel that because I went paddleboarding for the first time. It was at like summer 4th of July event with some family. I don't even own a paddleboard anyway. I'm not even really a good swimmer, but I went out there, and I could say from personal experience, and I did eventually manage to stand up after the family yelled at me to stand up. Paddleboarding is really fun, and I would love to do it again. Probably not out in like the ocean or something in case I drown, but it was really fun. It was like actually really peaceful out there. So I kind of felt a bit jealous of the characters getting to go out there and do it on such like calm water and everything too. But I like that afterwards they're kind of brought back together again, and that they vent to each other about how bad their dates went. And that was funny to me that Cameron is telling Tova of like, oh, liking this girl makes me want to be a better person. It's like basically that. And she's like, oh, that's so romantic. And he's like, no, that's so dumb. I'm making all these stupid plans to try things. Like he goes to an open mic night, and he plans to sing, you know, because he used to be in a band. And he's like nervous to sing, and he's like, oh, I'm not really a singer. I don't know if he was the singer in the band though, but he actually has a nice voice. He sings this Radiohead song, and I actually really liked how he sung it. And then you get this scene where Tova, I was like expecting it, you know, she finally tells Cameron of like, okay, this is what happened to my son. I thought that was really well performed. It's kind of funny, I was talking to my mom that I was watching this movie, and I mentioned it's a sad movie and Sally Fields is in it, and she's like, yeah, that sounds about right, because she always plays these kind of roles where it ends up being really depressing. I mean, probably not all of them, but a lot of them. And it was kind of weird for me seeing her in this because I watched Steel Magnolias. That was probably not the first movie I've ever seen her in, but just the one that comes to memory, where it's also a movie about her outliving her daughter or son. In this movie, it's a son. And oh my gosh, that movie was so freaking heartbreaking. Like, there's this scene where she talks about the person that's passed away, and she's just such a good actress at doing these kind of scenes. I cried. I didn't cry in this movie, but I will tell you that by the end, even though it ends actually on like a good note for the most part, I got emotional. Like, I wasn't teary-eyed or anything, but it was more so like I felt like I was going to potentially cry. So if you're gonna watch this, have some tissues on you just in case. But yeah, you learn that Tova's son, he went sailing and never came back, and Tova gets upset. She keeps insisting it was an accident, but there's like rumors that it was like potentially suicide. But I think the sad thing of it was that, you know, she has an argument with her son, and it's like right before he goes out, and she thinks that he died, still feeling angry at her. And I was thinking like, oh, no wonder she's so overprotective when it comes to Cameron. And then you find out that her son had a secret girlfriend, and that's when the movie kind of gets more sad, where Tova like starts ignoring Cameron and is like tearing apart her son's room to try to find evidence of the girlfriend. And you get a scene of him, like, actually drowning, too. I was kind of surprised by that. And then I like that Tova's friend, that she asks for help, actually calls her out on not being a good friend because she's so absorbed in trying to potentially find more interest about her son's death that she's, like, ignoring everyone else. Just very consumed by her grief, you know, which is understandable. It still feels, like, raw for her and everything. And then I felt bad for Cameron. It gets to the point where she, like, kicks him out of her house. He's not living there, but he's, like, over there trying to help her. He's, like, actually really nice to her and is, like, just trying to help. And she's like, get out, get out. She's, like, screaming at him. Or not really, like, screaming, more like yelling. And then at that point, there's, like, such a focus in the movie about Tova. I forgot about Marcellus, where he's, like, actually dying at this point. Not, like, dying, but, like, his death is approaching, basically. From trying to do these escapes, because every time he, hold on, there's yet another plane. I don't know why it feels like every couple of minutes there's, like, a plane that passes by. This usually doesn't happen. It's Friday, but it's still weird. Anyway, yeah, I forgot about Marcellus. Every time he tries to escape, his skin gets more dry and his hearts, because octopuses have, octopi, I keep forgetting that's, like, the plural. They have 3 hearts, which is really cool, honestly. I forgot about that. Anyway, oh, hold on. Did someone get home? Okay, I'm continuing. I'm actually inside the house now. Not because it was, like, too noisy out there, just people came home and I can't eat lunch yet. Anyway, Cameron, his only clue to finding his dad is a ring that has the word eels on it, which doesn't have anything to do with animal eels, but he thinks he finds his dad, and it's actually his mom's gay best friend, which doesn't end up really helping, but Cameron ends up getting discouraged on his search. And that's when things kind of suck for everyone, where he's trying to leave and kind of disconnects from Tova again, and Marcellus, I forgot to mention, he has this injury. It's funny, he says, like, I don't want to talk about it, and then he finally talks about it, where you actually get to see his point of view, where he's in the ocean, and the reason he has a personal vendetta against eels. I got jump scared, actually, when there's this eel that shows up suddenly, and it attacks Marcellus. I didn't think his wound was visible. I couldn't even really tell where it was, but I guess he got attacked at one point. But then, you know, he has to risk his greatest foe to get Cameron's ring back, because he absentmindedly kind of, no, he did it on purpose, where he kind of just drops it in anger in a tank, but he doesn't really think, like, oh, it's specifically the eel tank, you know. So it ends up in there, and Marcellus is like, okay, I need to get this ring back to bring these people back together, which I didn't really get at first. I thought just, oh, maybe it'll remind Cameron, like, you know, to keep searching for his dad or something. But yeah, then Tova, she ends up finding Marcellus, and he's not doing great, and she takes him back to the water, and they say goodbye, and it helps her realize, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't leave town. I really do love my home, but you need to go home, Marcellus. And this is where I want to talk about the acting in this movie. Like, as I was saying, Sally Field, she's so good at playing characters that get really emotional, especially when it's stories about, like, grief. Like I said, Tova talking about her son's death was well performed, where it's like, you know, she knows where to pause, she, like, kind of builds up to the reveal, and she cries when releasing Marcellus. And Alfred Molina, he's also really good as Marcellus. Like, he actually sounds sad saying goodbye to Tova, and there's this part when he finally gets back into the ocean, and he says, I'm finally home, and he sounds like he's tearing up. But there's also times, like I said, where he gets kind of sarcastic and makes fun of the humans a little bit, that just come across as really funny. Hold on, I'm trying to get, sometimes my notes are like this, where it doesn't actually let me, scroll or anything to, like, continue down. I have more notes. Gets kind of frustrating. Hold on a second. And then Marcellus gives us a glimmer of hope in that he's in the water, and he feels like he awakens, and then says, like, I'm not trying to give you hope, because I'm still gonna die soon. It's, like, basically that, but, like, a nicer way of saying it, and I'm like, oh, man. I mean, the nice thing is you don't see Marcellus die, but, like, you know he's going to die, like, very soon. And I do actually kind of like the movie sort of ends that way of, like, the human characters are brought back together, so they get to be happy, sort of, and Marcellus is going to die, but he's, you know, accomplished his mission, because he's trying to spend the movie not just escaping, but also to help the humans, and he feels like he fails at first. And, I mean, he doesn't, I don't think I think he knows through the ring that, like, once they find it, they'll figure out what they need to figure out, which I'm actually about to talk about, but, he doesn't get to see them be happy, which makes me a little sad. But yeah, then there's this reveal where you find out that, and it's a reveal I didn't see coming. I actually was just like, wait, what? I startled my dog when I said that, that Tova's son is actually, Cameron's dad. I guess they just kind of figure it out or something, where, or at least Tova does, because she sees the ring again, because Marcellus leaves it behind, you know, on purpose, and Cameron finds her, because he, I guess, came back to see her, and she says, oh, these initials, she says, my son, she, like, reveals her son's full name, which matches the initials on the ring for the eels thing, because Cameron didn't think anything of it, of being initials. He just thought, like, oh, it might have been, like, a sports team or something. And it turns out that the woman that, Tovo's trying to find, the son's, like, secret girlfriend, some guy tells her, like, oh, she might be named, like, Daphne or Cassie or something, and Tova goes through all these yearbooks and is trying to find this woman named Daphne. It turns out that was Cameron's mom. What was I going to say? But yeah, that makes Cameron actually Tova's grandson. That's pretty crazy. I didn't think that they'd end up, like, actually related. I thought this was just going to be one of those things, you know, because he's never had, like, a mom, and she lost her son that's kind of similar to Cameron. I thought it was going to be they become each other's family in that sense. I didn't think it was going to be literally that they literally are family, that she's been his grandmother this whole time, and neither of them knew. That's pretty crazy, because, you know, Tova didn't know that his son even had a girlfriend, and Cameron didn't know who his dad was. Like, on both sides, the son and the daughter, that sounds weird, Tova's son and Cameron's mom, that's kind of just the easiest way for me to remember to refer to them. They didn't tell their parents or really anyone, except, like, the son told his friend, or I think might have mentioned it or something, of, like, a girlfriend named Daphne, about each other. I guess it's that they got pregnant, but I feel like it makes sense. I don't know what they were planning to do with the baby, though, because, you know, the son ends up drowning, and it's, like, an accident, and the mother, I don't know what happens. No, I think it's that she overdosed. I think they mentioned she overdosed on drugs. But it makes sense, because, like, Tova's son is, like, kind of secretive, and Cameron's mom is said to be irresponsible and very scared of her dad. So there's kind of these clues, but I didn't really think of it other. I thought it was going to be that Cameron was going to actually, like, find his dad. I didn't think he was going to be related to Tova in any way. But that also is kind of sad, because it means that Cameron was actually never going to meet his dad, because his dad has been deceased this entire time. But yeah, I didn't see that coming at all. That was, like, a legitimate twist to me. I'm okay with it, though, that they turn out to, like, actually be related. If anything, it makes it kind of sweet that they ended up being brought back together. And it's kind of funny, because, you know, Cameron and Tova, they're talking about the ring, and Cameron says, like, wait, Marcellus bringing us back this ring, does that mean he knew all along? I mean, you never get to hear Marcellus actually say anything about it, but that's kind of interesting if it then, you know, that means, if it's true, I'm trying to say, that means Marcellus knew, from seeing the ring, and was able to figure it out faster than the people did. I mean, the thing is, though, there shouldn't be any way that Marcellus would know. I mean, Tova does talk to Marcellus a lot before meeting Cameron, but it's very hard for her to open up about what happened to her son. It takes her forever to do that with Cameron. I doubt that she would have told the octopus about her son. Or if she did, she might have just mentioned him by first name only. I mean, anyone could have a name that starts with E. But the fact that all of his initials match up with the eels thing, I doubt that the octopus knew. But it just kind of works out that way. I have a feeling it's more so he can tell from how they were talking about the ring and stuff. That it was important and they needed it back. But that is funny if it means that the octopus knew the whole time, or at least when the ring ends up in his tank. But then Cameron just finally breaks down and cries when they figure out, like, oh yeah, this is his grandmother and stuff. And then things end up working out where, like, Cameron, he gets together with the person that he liked, and Tova makes up to her date. And then you see that Tova, you know, she had tore up her son's entire room, and then Cameron, when he's cleaning in there, finds a secret thing under the floorboards. There really was evidence of the girlfriend. There was, like, photos and things. It was, like, the one place that Tova would have had no idea to look. So it really was something hidden, and it's kind of nice. You even see there's a paper with a bunch of names, and the name Cameron circled on there and everything. Like, they did want to, it sounds like they really did want to take care of their son, but, you know, they both ended up accidentally passing away and everything. And then you even find out that the son, because Tova mentions, oh, he was being secretive and there was a day where he didn't come out of his room after we argued and stuff. It turns out that it wasn't he was doing anything like suspicious or bad. It was that at an earlier part of the movie, or, you know, when the son was still alive, the mom has this little horse figurine and it ends up getting broken. And it turns out that the son was actually repairing it, and that's why he didn't want her to come in, because, you know, it was supposed to be a surprise. And it ends up in this, like, little memory box thing that he has of, like, all his little treasures, so he never actually got to give it back to her. And then it ends nicely, where, for the most part, where, like, Tova actually ends up getting a new job at the aquarium. I don't remember what the title was, but I wasn't really sure what it meant, but I think it means she's, you know, like, not the custodian anymore, or in some kind of higher up position. I'm not... So I guess that means that maybe Cameron doesn't work there anymore. I wasn't really sure about that, actually. But he gets to be with his girlfriend and her teenage or adult son or something. They're like a family now. And, you know, he still has Tova in his life, and it ends with them all hanging out at, like, a family picnic sort of thing. Or some kind of outdoor event. And there's a new octopus at the aquarium, so Marcellus says, like, oh, you know, my replacement, Tova's gonna take really good care of my replacement and everything. I mean, the sad thing is he's still going to die. But, I mean, I think he would have died no matter what, because even if he wasn't going those extra steps to, get out of his tank and try to bring Tova and Cameron together, he was still doing all of those escape attempts anyway, and it would have worn his body down, and he would have died. It's just too bad he can't talk, you know, where he could tell them, like, hey, I'm actually just trying to escape or something. You know, because if he could have escaped much, much, much earlier, he probably wouldn't have died. But it seems like he was a bit older anyway, so maybe he would have died of, like, old age or something. It's not like he's whatever the equivalent of, like, a young person is for an octopus, you know. But yeah, that's all my notes, pretty much my thoughts on this. It was really good. I was kind of worried because it was depressing. I knew it was going to be depressing. I didn't know by how much. And I was worried when it got to stuff of, like, Tova talking about her son or trying to find Daphne. I thought, like, okay, is this going to reach a point where I'm just going to go, man, this is too depressing, I'm not enjoying it. But no, I was, like, actually fully invested from start to finish. But yeah, I thought it was really good. It was funny, actually. My mom even made fun of me because she came downstairs while I was watching and said, this looks even too depressing for, like, your dad and I, which is interesting, because, like, my dad was also interested in watching this movie. I'm actually going to go talk to him about it, like, right after I finish this review. But yeah, it was really good. I recommend it. It is a bit depressing, like I mentioned, but I don't think it's as depressing as, like, I don't know, Steel Magnolias or something in terms of, like, Sally Field movies. I haven't seen, like, a ton with her. But yeah, I think my only thing with it is I wish there was, like, a little bit more of a focus on Marcellus. I know he's a side character. I know it's supposed to actually be about the humans, and he still is a character. He has his own goals, and he's trying to bring the humans together and escape and everything. he's not like just like a plot device or whatever. It's just he's so like interesting, and I loved his commentary about humans that I actually really wanted more about it. I don't think he needed to be the main character or anything or at the importance of the humans. I just wish there was like a little bit more from him. But yeah, overall, good movie. I liked it a lot. Alright, bye bye.